not just an entertainment, it is a witness. And it stands beside us in our joy. It reflects us in our grief, and at its boldest, it dares to challenge systems of power and speak for justice when words alone feel too fragile. Yeah. Today's conversation sits at the crossroads of a theater, memoir, caregiving, and conscious dying, a space where creativity meets mortality and love becomes legacy. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Healthy Man, Healthy Life. And I would love to introduce you to my guest, who is someone whose work has shaped American theater for over 6 decades. Please welcome Karen Malpede. So, welcome to the show, Karen.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here.
Amazing. And dear listeners, I would love to introduce you with Karen. So, Karen is a playwright, director, essayist, and co founder of Theatre 3 Collaborative, where alongside her late husband, the OBIE-winning actor George Bartenieff, she brought radical ecofeminist and politically charged stories to the stage. Now, her forthcoming memoir, Last Radiance, Radical Lives, Bright Deaths, reflects on love, loss, and the enduring role of art in transformation. So, dear listeners, the discussion today will be amazing. So, I'll not take much of your time. So, let's get started. And, Karen, it's really an honor to have you here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here with you.
Amazing. And so, Karen, like you have spent your life creating theater that confronts the justice, grief, and humanity. So, when you look back, do you feel that art has been more of a kind of mirror, uh, reflecting the times, or it's just a hammer that is shaping them?
I think it depends upon who receives the art. Um, Art can change people utterly if they confront it at a moment where they're open to change. They can let the message in and be changed. So it's a conversation between the piece of art, in my case, plays on the stage, like living actors, and the living audience.
Correct. I agree. So, do you think that artists carry a responsibility to confront the social issues, or is that a burden that we unfairly place on them?
Um, I think that art has a responsibility to reflect the times in which it's created and also to challenge the audience and the artists to be open to other possibilities. In my case, nonviolent change, like Gandhi, for instance, or Martin Luther King. We both come from countries with a tradition of nonviolent change. And that is the tradition that I see my work in.
Mm. And that tension between reflection and responsibility, I mean, uh, kind of feels especially alive in your work. And I think many listeners wrestle with the same question in their lives as well. I mean, am I here to witness, or am I here to change things? So, and perhaps definitely the answer is both.
Both, I would agree with you, both. Yes. You can't change unless you witness, right?
Exactly. Oh, lovely. And for your upcoming memoir, Last Radiance, it takes us into the deeply personal territory like caregiving, love, and saying goodbye to George. So, uh, how did writing in prose differ from the writing of for this stage where it came to expressing the grief?
Well, when I write for the stage, I'm writing other voices, characters' voices, not my voice, but the voices that come through characters. And I wrote many characters for George, so that our collaboration was I would write the words and he would physicalize and uh, emotionalize, if I might say, the character. He would make the character live. The memoir is my voice, but I use his voice and I use other people's voices in the memoir.
Mhm.
I use their writing. Uh,
Okay.
yes, so I'm the dominant voice in the memoir, but I'm also listening to other voices.
Mm. No, I agree. I agree. Uh, so, was there ever a moment in the writing where you thought that this is too intimate to share?
You know, I consciously wanted the memoir to be extremely intimate. It is intimate about love and it's intimate about death. Two experiences that make us human, really. Uh, if
Mm.
one has never loved, or if one has never known anyone they loved who died, what kind of life is that? So I wanted to take readers on a very intimate journey, and part of that reason was to open them to
Mm.
their own experiences of love and death, if they've had an experience of death, or if they've had an experience of love. But obviously, these are the two strongest experiences of life.
Exactly.
And they're connected, right? Because if we don't love, we don't mourn.
True. Exactly. I agree. I agree. I mean, it's definitely striking, like how art can carry us through the loss, but it can also expose us in a way that feels almost unbearable. And I think that many of us have that hesitation, like how much of our grief can we really put into the words? And uh, what do you say on this?
Well, grief is really uh,
Mm.
unexpressible except through language and music, of course.
Yeah.
Orpheus gives us music because he's grieving. Um, Art comes out of grief, much art.
Correct.
Without grief, we really don't know what life is. With,
Ah,
you know,
true. And also, you have been a part of the avant-garde since 1960s through ecofeminism, activist theater, and the radical cultural shifts. So, looking at today's creative resistance, whether in the art, film, or protest, do you feel the same fire is alive?
do I feel, I'm sorry,
I mean, do you feel that same fire or hunger is alive?
as life?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. I'm uh, do I feel the same fire or hunger in ecofeminism or
Yeah, yeah, altogether, like which started earlier, right? So what do you
right.
think right
Well,
now? Because
the book starts actually with my father's death from cancer. And when after he died, I went to college and I went to college at the University of Wisconsin, which was one of the universities that had a strong anti-Vietnam War movement. So the uh, the violence I experienced at home, both with my father's quite uh, extreme temper, and also the violence that I experienced watching him die from very toxic chemotherapy treatments.
Mm.
Those violences made me want to long for a world where we worked to make peace. And of course,
Huh.
the Vietnam War was raging and would continue to rage for many more years. Uh, So I walked into a world where I was also very influenced by the Irish playwright, by Yeats and Shaw and O'Casey, saying those Irish playwrights who were making theater to give the Irish people a sense of their own identity as separate from the way they were being treated by the British looking down upon the Irish, calling them pigs and things like that, dominating the Irish. And the Irish playwrights created the Abbey Theatre to um, to give the Irish people a sense of their own nobility and their own language and their own tradition. So I was very influenced as a young person studying uh, theater by the Irish playwrights, and I learned from them that theater could give people an identity and a sense of strength and a sense of pride and a sense of purpose.
Understood. Mm. I mean, um, also, like, this might sound contradictory, but actually not. Like, some people say that theater and even the memoir has lost its relevance in an age dominated by the digital media. So, why spend hours in a playhouse or pages in a book when you can scroll through videos or podcasts in minutes? I mean, how do you respond to that?
Well, I mean, there's room for everything. But what is unique about the theater, of course, is that you're a living, breathing presence in the audience and you're watching living, breathing presences on the stage. And in the most profound theater, the audience and the actors actually begin to breathe together. And they breathe together in a way that heightens the experience for both.
Great.
And this has been scientifically proven actually, that the breath begins to come together between the actors and the audience.
Uh,
And we know in just daily life, the more deeply we breathe, the more alive we feel.
mm, exactly. Exactly true. So, uh, and I mean, for them, I mean, for the critics, definitely. Do you think, uh, I mean, uh, do you believe basically that live performance still has a sacred place that no screen can touch?
Yes. I mean, I love movies. I love film. I'm less excited about television, but I love film. I love to read. Of course, I love to hear interviews and listen to things, but these are all discrete experiences. But the theater has a particular uh, resonance. Um, I'm also very deeply influenced by the Greek theater, by the tragic theater of the Greeks. And I work closely with a very famous Greek actor director who was in my last play, who I've known for decades. And she and I have an ongoing discussion over decades about the power of the theater.
Mm, okay, okay, you got it. And I mean, it's true, definitely, because we live in a world of quick consumption. But the way you describe theater makes me think of it kind of almost as a ritual, uh, gathering of souls. And maybe that's exactly what our fragmented world still needs, right?
I totally agree with you. And
Yeah.
theater comes from ritual,
Uh,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Oh, lovely. And also, like, uh, your work often connects art with the conscious dying, seeing death not as an end, but as a teacher. So some might say that romanticizing something brutal and uh, devastating. So how do you hold that balance between reverence and reality?
Between reverence and reality. I guess you walk that tightrope, right? Um, and hope you don't fall off. But if you don't walk the tightrope, you're not walking at all, you know. So
Exactly. I mean, I totally agree. I mean, until and unless you fail, you do not expect that you will win, right? So, uh,
I mean, I have to can I refer to the book for a little bit? Um
uh-huh.
uh, uh the center of the book, the longest section of the book is about my life with George, my husband. He was a hidden child in Nazi Germany. His parents left him with relatives, with non-Jewish relatives. So George's father was a Jew. His mother was an what so-called Aryan, and she was from a very wealthy family. But she knew because she was German that it was time to leave.
Yeah.
So she left with her husband um in 1936, and she left her two sons behind on an estate. And on this estate lived a card carrying member of the Nazi party, George's uncle by marriage, and other people who were not Nazis, and these two hidden Jewish children. um when George was 89 and a half, he died at 89 and a half, very much towards the end of his life, he was really struggling to recover his early memories.
Yeah.
Um, he was frightened of death, as I think we all are, if we're honest. And he felt he was also very frightened as a child when his parents left him alone for 3 years in an increasingly hostile environment of Nazi Germany. So those two experiences, the one he was having, which was preparing to die, and the memories he was recovering as a very early child, um, sort of became, uh, uh, I don't know, the air which we breathe, the environment in which we were in. And I told him, because he had been left by his parents, that I would not leave him and that he would not die alone, which is what happened. He died in my arms, um, seemingly unafraid.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Exactly true. Yeah.
And I
And
had been prepared. I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, please.
The book is focuses on some extraordinary people's deaths from cancer. The ones I have not mentioned were my good friend Julian Beck, who was a great theater artist, an actor, a director, a producer, founder of the Living Theater, and Barbara Deming, who was a great writer and lesbian feminist activist. And both of those people died in the 1980s, and they both died what I would call exemplary deaths in community, surrounded by people who loved them. And they were cognizant and aware of who they were and what they were, and they made art up until the very last minute um,
Yeah.
of their lives. And so those deaths prepared me for uh, George's death. And George also was surrounded by a community the last week of his life. He was always surrounded by community because he was an actor and a director, but I mean, he was surrounded at his bedside by his closest friends and colleagues and family.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I totally agree. Amazing. Lovely
And
play.
I'm sorry.
Please, please, please continue. Yeah.
No, I think you probably agree with me, Avik, that uh, to have to be with someone you love when they're leaving this world is a great privilege.
Yes. Yeah. I really loved. I mean, so generally, I really love this conversation. Why? Because this actually uh, connects with people. And like me, like other listeners also, I believe there are listeners who are nodding their head. I agree with you, listeners. Like you also agree with this. And if you do let us know in the comment section, and also share your views. What you think? Uh, it actually help us connect better, and also maybe through this we can uh, help someone for their betterment in their life. So uh, let's get this together. And I believe that this is really a great conversation. And thank you so much, Karen. Uh, you have taken us on a journey, like from the fire of the avant-garde stage to that, to the quiet tenderness of caregiving, from the resistance to the deeply personal realm of grief and the conscious dying. So I mean, I have to say, what strikes me is like how art is all this in all these forms, uh, is not just about the expression, but also it's about the witness. And uh, it allows us to stand in the hardest places together, and still find meaning. So togetherness is something which is always at the top. So thank you so much, Karen. And
You're so welcome. And the book and this conversation with you, I think we agree, are meant to give people not only insight, but courage.
exactly, I totally agree. And for the listeners, I would love to mention, like, uh, this conversation remind you that creativity is not only about that what we produce, but it's also about how we show up, how we care, and how
Yes.
we live with awareness of our fleeting, radiant time here. So that's very important. And Karen's memoir, Last Radiance, Radical Lives, Bright Deaths, comes out this October. And I encourage all of you to explore her body of work. It's a living archive of courage and the imagination. And I'd request Karen, I mean, if you can share, like, if someone wants to connect with you, want to have a discussion about your book, how they will connect.
Uh, how do they connect? They can email me,
Okay.
yeah, or connect through you, and you could connect them to me, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Perfect. Perfect. So,
that would be
there
the
is.
best way, I think. I would love to connect. Yes.
For sure. For sure. So, dear listeners, as I mentioned, look for the memoir coming in October. And I'll put all the details into the show notes so that you can easily reach out to us, to Karen. And I would also request, share your thoughts, share your questions. It really help us. It will definitely help us reach that goal, that purpose. So that is very, very important. And with this hope, until next time, remember that a healthy mind and a healthy life aren't just about the wellness, but they are all about finding the courage to witness, to love, and to create. So, thank you so much for being here, and have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me.